Janibek has announced his ideal next 3 fights. And let me just say this. If Janibek comes out of victorious of this game plan he just set up, Janibek would probably be regarded as a top 10 potentially pound for pound fighter in the world right now. Now, I probably would say top 10. Because what he announced was he wants to fight Carlos Adames in summer 2025, Eris Landry Lara, which would be for undisputed then, in the fall or winter 2025, and then hop over and fight Canelo Alvarez Cinco de Mayo weekend, May 2026. Does this come to fruition? I have no idea. But what I will say is this. If you're telling me that he's going to knock off Carlos Adames, who I believe is the second best fighter at 160, Eris Landry Lara, who's the other champion, would become undisputed at 160, move up to 168, and defeat the king of 168 right now, Canelo Alvarez. That would be one heck of a resume and run. Janibek is a guy that I believe is one of the most underrated fighters in all of boxing right now. The things that Janibek has accomplished, the way he's able to fight, listen, he does not have a massive branding. And that has hindered him. His agent just came out and talked about this last week. That the fact that his branding is not massive, that he does not have a massive profile, hinders him drastically. Because now a lot of big fighters don't want to fight him because they know that he's extremely skilled, but won't bring in the big finances. When you talk about Janibek, if he's able to get this fight, I have to imagine Turkey's the only way it's going to happen. But if he can go off a run of Carlos Adames, Eris Landry Lara, and Canelo Alvarez and pull those 3 fights off, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if he does that, it's hard to imagine that he's not a top 10 pound for pound fighter. He has every single fight ability to become that. I mean, I truly do think he's one of the most underrated fighters, I said. I think he's the king of 160 right now. Him becoming undisputed would solidify that list right there. But when you talk about him, he is phenomenal. And I think he's such an underrated fighter where if he does that, if you get the Canelo fight, obviously it's going to grow his brand. And that would be a fight I'd love to see. Because I've said this yesterday on yesterday's show. The problem with 168 is that there's nobody that Canelo's going to fight that is even entertaining. And I think that's a large reason why we're getting Bud Crawford, where obviously, yes, Canelo has all the odds going for him in that fight. But it's a unique, interesting fight. Whereas everybody else at 168, I don't think it's going to be competitive either. You look at all these guys at 168. Caleb Plant would be a rematch anyways. You have Charlo possibly working his way up, but that fight makes no sense right now. You have so many different fights that could hypothetically get made, but they just are not big enough fights that make sense, or guys that he's already fought. So the Bud Crawford fight essentially just became there because it's a big financial fight for him. And what else is there? Every fight's going to be a massive advantage for Canelo regardless, unless you do the David Benavidez fight, which is a story for another time. So if he wants to go to Janibek, that would be the best fight to make for Canelo. The actually best fight to make for Canelo Alvarez, not including a David Benavidez, Bivol, Beterbiev, whatever, him moving up to 175, would be Janibek moving up to fight him at 168. And so I think that'd be a huge fight to make. And if Janibek comes out of that unscratched and comes out 3-0 out of that run, as I said, Janibek would have to be regarded as a top 3 or top 10 pound for pound fighter heading into what? That'd be Cinco de Mayo weekend of 2026.